ask for the commission to consider for this meeting having Mr. Anderson chair the meeting. Could there be a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Chair? Oh, okay. I thought we voted.
No, he's motion.
I'm sorry, you're correct. A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay. This is the meeting for the Mobile City Planning Commission for June 1st, 2023. I'd like to take a moment to review our general operating procedures. The meeting is divided into two sessions, public hearing and deliberation sessions. In the public hearing session, the agenda items called, the applicant makes a presentation, commission members ask questions. Members of the public may make comment. Only four may speak for an agenda item, four against. Each speaker is limited to 5 minutes, subject to questions by the commission. You will be given a warning at 1 minute remaining to prompt you to summarize your comments. After opposition speakers have finished, the applicant is allowed a 2-minute rebuttal. If you do intend to speak, come to the podium, speak into the microphone, and provide your name and address for the record. Direct all comments to the commission only and not to the applicant, staff, or the audience. After hearing all applications, the commission will go into the deliberation session. In the deliberation session, the commissioners discuss each application with input from the staff as necessary, but with no input from the audience. The commissioners then vote on each application. Results of the meeting can be learned from the planning department. If some issues arise during the deliberation session that were not addressed in the public hearing, the chairman has the discretion to allow additional comments pertaining to those issues in order to resolve them or call for the application to be held over for future discussion. Occasionally, a commissioner may recuse themselves from discussing and voting on a given application. A recusal does not mean the member is directly involved with the application or the applicant. However, depending on the circumstances, ethical rules may require recusal even if there's only the slightest appearance of conflict. If a regular member recuses, a supernumerary will vote in their stead unless both supernumeraries are already voting due to absences. The Planning Commission makes final decisions on subdivisions with appeals to decisions to circuit court. Planning Commission is strictly a recommending body for rezonings, conditional use permits, and planned unit developments. The City Council makes final decision on these applications. All appeals to the City Council decisions are to the circuit court. Please turn off all cell phones and electronic devices at this time. Commissioners and staff, please turn on your microphones when speaking. We'll do a roll call. Jay Stubbs not here. Nick Amberger.
Here.
Here, Kirk Matei, Shirley Sessions, here, Larry Dorsey, Chad Anderson, Matt Anderson, me, William Carroll's not here, Harry Brislin, and Kenny Nichols. We have a quorum. We only have one application. First application is a subdivision application, Tate Property subdivision in Council District 6. Is the applicant present?
Suite B, Daphne, Alabama. Before we get started, I just would like some clarification if this is going to be heard as a subdivision and then the rezoning request, or if this is all in a single altogether. Okay, understood. Thank you. So before you is two applications on this agenda. The property we're considering today is on the south side of Old Government Street Road, approximately 0.2 of a mile east of Schillinger. The first application before you is a subdivision request for 27 lots, with the lots 1 through 26 to be a single-family residential dwelling. Lot 27, which is a 17-acre parcel, is intended to be a 222-unit townhome development. The next application on the agenda would be to rezone Lot 27 from R1 to R3 to accommodate the 222-unit townhomes With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that y'all may have. Of course. Neighborhood meeting was held May 2nd at the Providence Hampton Inn Conference Room. There were 13 attendants present at the meeting. It lasted about an hour and a half, give or take, I believe. There was several attendees there who were in opposition of the project. A lot of the concerns had to do with the removal of trees, the vegetation on site, traffic concerns, stormwater runoff, and then the impacts of additional traffic and using adjacent streets as cut-through roads. There were also some attendees who were in favor of the project, citing that it would reduce some questionable activities that may be occurring on that vacant lot as it is now. Did that address your?
Are there any questions from the commissioners? Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, just to bring to the commission's attention, you do have a comment at your seats that was both logged in via the portal as well as an email sent to staff, but the comments appear to be identical.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone that's here to speak for this agenda item? Is there anyone here to speak against this agenda item? Yes, ma'am. Come on down. Please share your name and address.
And that's one of the streets that will become a major hazard once we have traffic increased. Willow Point subdivision is a small, medium income, I guess, subdivision that has small streets. And there is a cut through from Cody Road up to Old Government that is used extensively and causes traffic issues with Pine Run, Red Arrow, and Willow Point East and Willow Point Drive. I can't see how you can put speed breakers in there because our houses are too close together. So you're going to run into driveways. And if you put a traffic light in there, I think that won't alleviate the problem either. So I would hate to see zoning move from R1 to R3.
Are there any questions for the speaker? Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else here to speak against this application? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. You have a 2-minute rebuttal.
The traffic impact study modeled the current conditions as well as the future as-built conditions of the site. It found that there would not be any off-site improvements required other than some timing modifications at the Schillinger Road intersection. But it did not warrant or recommend any additional turn lanes, any widening, or any other accommodations for that.
Was there anything from traffic engineering on this?
I'd like to ask a question. I just like traffic engineering. Mary Beth Logan has moved on to Greenville Pastures and behind the Solar Street right now. And she would have seen the traffic impact study if anyone did. Do you know if she reviewed your
the traffic impact study was submitted to her, when it was available to us. I'm uncertain of the time or date that it was submitted to her, but it was it was prior to the neighborhood meeting on May 2nd.
She didn't mention a traffic impact study to me. I thought one had to be provided. And certainly, we want to review a traffic impact study.
Question for the staff. Were there comments from traffic on this? Because, I mean, Mary Beth was very diligent in responding to stuff like that.
We didn't have any comments, and I have Mrs. York double checking. I don't believe a traffic impact study was submitted with this application. But of course, that doesn't address anything that could have been submitted directly to traffic.
Do you know how it was submitted? sir?
It was submitted directly to Mary Beth. As soon as it was done, we submitted it straight to her.
Okay. Actually, I wasn't part of that review process, but Moiner here did see it. I said Mary Beth reviewed it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Are there any further questions for the applicant? Thanks.
I'm looking at this
Go ahead.
site plan, just so I understand the sizes here. So the rezoning is going to put the parcel on the left to R3. That 17 acres, go back 2 slides. Or the other way. No, sorry, other way. One more. This one. So the size on this, lot 27 is 17 acres, and that's where the 222 townhomes are going.
Yes, that is correct.
And so the subdivision would allow for the residential units, lots 1 through 26.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And just so for the staff, there's no requirements for a PUD.
They simply have to, if you noticed in some of the considerations, they will simply have to comply with the UDC, which has some increased architectural standards and things of that nature. But as long as it complies with landscaping, setbacks, site coverage, etc., there is no site plan specific approval required because those are higher standards than what we had under the zoning ordinance.
And the future land use map would be something to consider.
Always.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it is one factor of many.
Another question for staff. I know in the UDC, because I asked this question specifically, I think when we met regarding townhomes and some of these other innovative type developments, is R3 the only zoning district in which townhomes would be allowed?
No, it could be allowed in a commercial classification.
As far as, but no R2 or anything like that?
Correct. The density would not allow.
I have one comment for the developer. Just in looking at the layout that shows the subdivision lots and the townhomes versus the one that shows the drainage easement that's there, it does look like the drainage easement's kind of straddled that, but it does look like you got some townhomes that are probably going to have to either be reconfigured or eliminated there because it's going straight through a drainage easement. So. Makes it a lot easier.
Are there any further questions for the applicant? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. I guess we'll go straight into the deliberation since this is the only item. Margaret, would you explain the standard of review situation?
Yes, it's one group application. You would need to take your vote separately for the subdivision and then for the rezoning. On the rezoning, if the commission is looking to recommend approval, you will need to look on page 7 of the staff reports above considerations at those bulleted items. Those are essentially your findings of fact, and it's the basis upon which you would be making your recommendation to the city council. You know, change in conditions, benefits considerations, etc.
Thank you, Margaret. The chair would entertain a motion.
On subdivision, I move to approve subject to staff recommendations.
Second. The motion's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. With regard to the rezoning,
Move to approve subject to staff recommendations, adopting findings of facts 1, 3, 5, and 7, bulleted. I put numbers on it.
Yeah.
Consistency, compatibility, capacity, and benefit consideration.
Consistency, compatibility.
Second. The motion's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
If I may ask a question or an observation, do y'all think it would, and this is for all future applications, do y'all think it would be helpful for y'all to get a copy of the traffic impact study?
If
I mean,
it could be-
staff doesn't have it, just the traffic engineer, and that's who it should go to, but
Mhm.
the UDC requires one now for an application like this. And to me, it is, doesn't it? I think that is, in this application, that is the most important bit of information y'all could have.
Mhm.
Certainly can't hurt for the commission members to see
and
it.
I'm not
I mean,
saying don't vote
Yeah.
on this today, but I think in the future we need to do our best, staff, if we can, in traffic engineer, if we can have that submitted, supplied to y'all with the staff report. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is throwing 500 cars into that subdivision to the right, because we know people aren't going to go to Schillinger's Road and get in that traffic. So I'm just curious what the TIS would have said about it.
That would be agreeable. Is there any further discussion on this motion for rezoning?
Yeah, I'll say this, and we're kind of feeling our way through the new UDC, but one concern I have, and this isn't really a zoning issue, it's the future land use map that has this property as a low-density residential, which we've adopted, says it would be between 0 and 6 dwelling units per acre. 220 units on 17 acres, I think, is double that, recommendation. A year ago, I would think we would have had a PUD, and that would have been something that, would have been within our wheelhouse. And this may not even be as specific to this one development, but in my view, going to multifamily would be appropriate. This level, to me, feels like a lot, but with what's before us, with the rezoning, I do agree with the motion that multifamily is not out of line. Kind of looking for the staff to tell me if I'm completely off base here, but this feels like this is kind of a new situation with the new UDC and the lack of a PUD.
I mean, it is new. You've been operating under the UDC really for less than 2 months now. It went effective March 1, but you didn't start seeing applications under it until April. But I would say in terms of the future land use map, it is one of the guides under which this commission operates. It is to be considered, but you have other factors as well. The timing, the location. You also look at the UDC, the capacity, the changing conditions. I can't tell you the density here, but Willowbrook to the east has their patio-style homes on smaller lots than what you see on the other side of Old Government Street Road. The other unique factor here is all of the area that you see colored on the map is in the city limits. All of this area here is unincorporated. There is no zoning or flume. You know, none of those elements are here. I understand what you're saying, Mr. Matei, because I think with planned unit developments previously, you had some type of assurance that what was presented is what would be built. With the UDC, though, as I said earlier, there's higher standards, so simply compliance is required.
Since this is not site plan specific, there's a comment in the staff report that when you relocating the swimming pool, is that a condition of disapproval?
To me, if you make that a condition, it's simply redundant. They would have to do that anyway.
Yeah, I wanted to share one more comment too about traveling back to Cody. I think the neighborhood, and I guess that might be a thing if we could have bigger aerial photos that maybe reached out farther, because what we've got up there doesn't quite do it. That's why I'm looking at my phone here. Not that the road network doesn't get back to Cody, but it's not an easy path. I mean, you're not going to, I ain't going to say people wouldn't choose that, but it's a bunch of twists and turns to get
It
there.
That would
depends.
be good to know.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean,
You can get there. It just depends on how desperately you want to avoid traffic lights.
exactly. You're going to be much easier to go down to Schillinger's, which is
Yeah.
having a time system connected, having all the systems connected there. I mean, that, you're not to say somebody wouldn't go that way. but
Right.
It's you kind of want to get there pretty bad. And try not to get lost.
I'd also like to point out that within the motion, we have the considerations taken by the commission being 1, 3, 5, and 7. So those are within the scope of Mr. Amberger's motion. That has been seconded. So is there any further discussion?
We have a second. I'm sorry.
We did.
I second.
Shirley seconded.
Okay, thank you.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Is there any other business to come before the commission? Business meeting will be rescheduled. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.